1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 17 through chapter 3, verse 5. Paul's longing to see them again. But since we were torn away from you, brothers, for a short time, in person, not in heart, we endeavored the more eagerly and with great desire to see you face to face, because we wanted to come to you, I, Paul, again and again. But Satan hindered us. For what is our hope, or joy, or crown of boasting before our Lord Jesus at his coming? Is it not you? For you are our glory and joy. Chapter 3. Therefore, when we could bear it no longer, we were willing to be left behind at Athens alone. And we sent Timothy, our brother and God's co-worker in the gospel of Christ, to establish and exhort you in your faith, that no one be moved by these afflictions. For you yourselves know that we are destined for this. For when we were with you, we kept telling you beforehand that we were to suffer affliction, just as it has come to pass, and just as you know. For this reason, when I could bear it no longer, I sent to learn about your faith, for fear that somehow the tempter had tempted you, and our labor would be in vain. In this section, of course, Paul is encouraging the people in Thessalonica, and he is showing, for example, in verse 20, for you are our glory and joy. But one of the questions as we look at this section is what is implied by the passage. And what's implied is that there is going to be suffering and affliction in this life because there is spiritual warfare. Here we see, but Satan hindered us. So that implies that in this life right now, there is active spiritual warfare going on. So we see that Paul sent Timothy. But the reason he did was to establish and exhort them in the faith. And by establish, it means to be well-rooted. But specifically so that no one be moved by these afflictions. So as we think about it in our daily life, what is being said here is that when we see afflictions, we may have a tendency to doubt God's care for us, God's love. But what we need to understand is that there is this spiritual battle going on. So he is tempting us to doubt. No one enjoys spiritual battle, but it does explain why there are difficulties in this life.